Jordan Peterson's never worked a day in his life. If you hand him a hammer, he'll try to start a car with it. But he makes a lot of money telling kids to clean their rooms and work hard. Now the problem is with the self-improvement game is sometimes the clients improve and they realize that a snake oil salesman like Jordan Peterson is totally full of shit. So old Jordan needs to expand his market. And where does a guy like Jordan Peterson go? Evangelical Christianity. I have here a clip of Jordan Peterson crying. What's he crying about? Because he always cries about everything. Jesus Christ.
It doesn't matter because there's still a historical story. And so what you have in the figure of Christ is an actual person who actually lived, plus a myth. And in some sense, Christ is the union of those two things. The problem is I probably believe that, but I don't know. I'm amazed at my own belief and I don't understand it. Because I've seen...
Those tears are going to make him money.
The objective world and the narrative world touch. That's Jungian synchronicity.
The narrative world and the whatever historical world touch. An example of that, I think I understand what he's saying. An example of that, and it's not worth crying over, would be Boogie Nights. In Boogie Nights, Dirk Diggler, he's kind of like John Holmes. His career looks a lot like John Holmes' career. But John Holmes had a sad ending, but Dirk Diggler has a positive ending. He finds a family in the pornography industry. And the last shot is of Marky Mark's huge cock. That cock actually went missing from the set. No one's ever solved, as far as I know, no one's ever solved the mystery of Marky Mark's missing cock. Now, we know Jordan Peterson will cry if the wind blows in the wrong direction. But these guys, they don't see it that way.
And I've seen that many times in my own life. And so in some sense, I believe it's undeniable. We have a narrative sense of the world. For me, that's been the world of morality. That's the world that tells us how to act.
How to act. Like when you start fights on Twitter and physically threaten people. Morality, like when you advocate for poor people to have their health care taken away. Some people might say that we shouldn't mock Jordan Peterson's constant compulsion for hysterical crying and weeping. It's hard for me to give empathy to a man who shows so little of it to strangers. He doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. But these guys are going to eat these tears up, and here's why. I used to go to a Pentecostal church. Pentecostal church filled with a lot of showboats. It used to actually annoy my mother. These guys would fall all over themselves at the end of the sermon. When they start playing all the music, they fall all over the ground. They start shaking. They start speaking in tongues, and by tongues, just made up foreign-sounding language. Now, when I was a kid, I thought something was mentally wrong with these people. Maybe I was right. Whatever. That's not the point. I thought that normal medicine had failed them and they were coming to church to cure whatever it was that was ailing them, and they all seemed to have the exact same disease. And that's why people had their hands on their bodies and they were praying over them. But what was actually happening is they believed the Spirit of Jesus was in them. And the people that were laying hands on them, they were hoping to catch it like passing like electricity passing through bodies or herpes. My perception was to see things as they looked, but their perception was entirely different. Very similar to these comments. I mean, Jordan Peterson will cry because there's too many women in Marvel movies. Or children can't throw snowballs at girls. This is what they see. These are the comments in this clip. As a Christian, seeing someone experience this makes me so emotional. Jordan always weeps when he talks about Christ. I love his humility. He gets it. Anyone that had encountered the mercy of Christ will get it. It's mercy. He is one of the greatest thinkers of our time, and he knows. Okay, whoa. And he knows the mercy of the actuality of Christ. People should listen. Jordan is more touched by the story of Christ than most Christians I know. Doesn't matter how intelligent we are. When the Holy Spirit reveals himself to us, we can't help but weep in awe. Jordan Peterson failed to be his generation's Young, and it kills him inside. He failed to be his generation's Nietzsche. He failed at being Dostoevsky. I think he even had ambitions to being a postmodernist. And that's where his hatred of postmodernism comes from. You know what he's trying to be now? This motherfucker's trying to be C.S. Lewis. And these guys, when they see him tearing up, they buy every gallon, every thimble drop of snake oil this dude will sell.